And you are seeing the National Mall right here. This is where today thousands of people have gathered to celebrate VE Day. Of course, this marks the Allies' victory over the Nazis, and you see some vintage World War II aircraft. Maybe some of those are vintage World War II aircraft flying over the National Mall there. That last one looks like a modern-day Cessna, but they are honoring a lot of the airmen who flew in that war, so crucial to bombing raids over Europe, and that helped defeat the Nazis. But many of those veterans today are getting to fly in some of those vintage aircraft that are still in operation today to celebrate, again, VE or Victory in Europe Day over the Nazis. And also appropriate that we talk about the British election here in all of this, our allies in World War II, of course. And we're going to bring back in Newsmax executive editor Ken Chandler to continue our conversation about the UK elections. Ken, we heard the concession speech, and for Americans who are maybe tuning in with bated breath to their first UK election, getting to see these guys hear the election results come back while they're on camera is almost like a reality show, even more so than American politics. But let's listen to Ed Miliband, the Labour leader, in his speech as he resigned.
I take absolute and total responsibility for the result and our defeat at this election. I'm so sorry for all of those colleagues who lost their seats.
So, Ken, is this a bigger victory for David Cameron and the Tories, or a bigger loss for Ed Miliband?
Well, it's a big victory for David Cameron, no question about that. But just watching that clip of Ed Miliband, this time 24 hours ago, that man thought he was going to be the Prime Minister. He really did. His advisors told him that he'd be able to form a coalition government. He thought he would be, running the country. Now, he's not running the country. He's not even running the Labour Party. He's just another man on the street. It's a complete and dramatic collapse for him personally.
All right.
So can I have to ask you, was this a vote for Cameron or a vote against the other party?
It was a vote. It was really, it was both. It was a vote for Cameron and a continuity of the economic policies that the Conservative parties have been pursuing to get the economy back up and running. It was a vote against Miliband because he was seen to have taken the Labour Party a little too far to the left. People, remember Tony Blair, and the Labour Party that he ran was a very centrist party. That's why he stayed in power for 10 years. Miliband was trying to move it to the left, and that made people uncomfortable.
So I have to ask you, what do the UK elections mean for the rest of the world? Why is this so important that we pay attention?
Well, I don't think it's quite as important as we make it out to be anymore. It used to be. The fact is that the UK does kind of punch above its weight militarily. It is involved overseas because of its former colonies. So it does have a lot of influence. But the fact is, these days, it has an economy that really can't afford to make it a world player. Britain has to find a new place in the world, and I think it just has to lower its expectations about how influential it's going to be going forward.
All right. Well, I also want to ask you, too, because we talked about David Cameron's uncomfortable position, and I just like to talk about Boris Johnson because he's a magnetic character to talk about. But we bring this up because Boris Johnson had maybe hoped to take over leadership of the Tory party. But do you think David Cameron is going to face some challenges from the backbenchers there?
Yeah, well, he will do. Not yet, but David Cameron, in what many regarded as a bit of a foolish statement, said during the campaign that he would only serve one more term as Prime Minister. So, in effect, this means that he's going to become a lame duck pretty soon. And there is going to be a lot of jockeying to see who will succeed him.
All right, Ken, well,
Johnson
I'm getting the word. We got to turn our attentions away real quickly, but we thank you for being with us and carrying us through these UK elections to give us the update. Maybe not as important as we initially thought, but still interesting nonetheless to get your take.
Yeah, thank you.
All right.
And now look at some of the stories that are making headlines on this Friday. The first tropical storm of the year threatens to hammer parts of the East Coast. But in Texas today, high winds are already causing problems. Take a look at this. Officials blame strong winds for this massive train derailment. It happened this morning, and at least 2 of the locomotives flipped over into floodwaters. Police say 4 workers were taken to a nearby hospital. No word yet on their condition. Now over to Washington State. 2 men died after their plane crashed into the Spokane River and sank. Officials say the pilot reported engine trouble shortly before it crashed. Police in Los Angeles are criticizing the LAPD police chief for calling the shooting and killing of an unarmed homeless man, quote, unjustified. A city council member understands why some people are upset over the shooting, but also believes
many others, on the other hand, are angry that they feel that an officer is being judged before the investigation is complete.
The LAPD Inspector General says they're reviewing the surveillance video of the shooting.
All right, yesterday, Senator John McCain spoke with Ed Berliner on Hardline. They discussed the growing threat in the Middle East and the Obama administration's role in all of this. We'll have that when we come right back after this short commercial break.